In 2026, it's easier than ever to look like you're doing well and harder than ever to actually be doing well. But here's the truth. Looking rich is maybe the fastest way to stay broke. Morgan Housel says spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money. Today, I want to walk through why looking poor, or at least not trying to look rich, might be one of the smartest financial moves you can make. The game has changed. We are moving past hustle culture and entering the era of money clarity. So no more like grinding 24/7 or every day I'm hustling, like none of that anymore. We're done with that crap. There's a quote from Warren Buffett that I think about a lot, and it says, do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. And that's really what the percentage game is all about. Wealth is not about how much money you make. It is, in fact, about how much money you keep. And I'm sure you've seen people go on the podcast, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And these people, a lot of them are making a ton of money. 200,000 a year, 400,000 a year, 500,000 a year. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense, because with that amount of money, you should be freaking rich. You should like living the high life and like have all the things, right? But these people spend everything and save nothing.
And where would you get this saved money?
So you can have someone making $60,000 a year saving 25% of that, and you can have someone making $120,000 a year saving 5% of that. And the first person, the $60,000 a year income earner, is actually building more real wealth than the person who makes double. But most people don't look at it that way because they're looking about how much money do you make, not looking at percentages. So here is your hack on how to win the percentage game. Every time you get paid, you are going to decide on a set fixed percentage amount of that income that comes in, and you will move it out automatically. You are saving it, as it were. If you don't have an emergency fund, you'll start there. If you have an emergency fund but haven't started saving for retirement, go there. You wanna push kids into college, some of it goes there. But the percentage number, 5%, 10%, 15%, whatever you can work for you, that goes out of your bank account numero uno. The problem with this is it is not sexy.
So sexy.
I saved 8% of my paycheck this month. Like, that's less fun than be like, look at these boots. But slow and steady wins the race. You do that consistently over time, you will be winning the money game. My friends, take a look around. Do you see the cars that are driving around your neighborhood, on the highway, in the parking lots? They are real nice. Do you see all these new homes that are being built? All the upgrades, all the things, all the beautifulness. Do you see the trips, the cruises, the Caribbean?
Yeah. I don't know if that's right.
Going out to eat more, treat yourself, YOLO. It feels like normal is what you see repeatedly. So the social pressure of looking a certain way makes us feel like we're failing if we are not doing the things we see everyone else doing. But the reality is most people, I would say 90%, of all of these $50,000 cars and more expensive, and all of these trips and the new furniture and the house upgrades, these are all on monthly payments. These are all loans. These are not things people actually own. Do you want to be tied down to a monthly payment to have a lifestyle that you think you're supposed to have? Do you even want that lifestyle, or are you more interested in freedom? Something that can help you break out of this like fake normal lifestyle is to do what I like to call an invisible week. So what is the invisible week? You make yourself invisible socially by not buying anything that you don't actually need. I just did a gymnastic competition with my 16-year-old son. We did have to travel. It was a huge championship thing, and I tried to do it on a budget the best that I could. So I used points for the flights. I got an Airbnb because weirdly enough, it was cheaper than the hotel. Wild. And I bought groceries and cooked most of our meals right there in the Airbnb. So another one of the families that was also there, they kept inviting us to go out. So we had just gotten in, we were on the same flight. They had just gotten in and they were like, hey, do you want to go to blah, blah, blah for lunch? And we were like, I got these tacos. And I probably only paid $10 to feed 4 adults. A few hours later, they texted again and they were like, hey, we're gonna go to dinner at, I think it was Bubba Gump Shrimp. We were like, no, like I got food to make here. And I know if I had gone there, it would have been minimum $15 a person times the 4 people, plus tax, plus tip. I'm talking $70 to $80 if I had gone on the cheap side where I spent $10 at the Airbnb. So in this scenario, it is just what other people were doing. And I opted out of it to save quite a bit of money, hundreds of dollars over the course of 3 days. Number 2, no Amazon orders. Yeah, that's right. Number 3, no upgrades. Clothing upgrades, no. Shoe upgrades, no. Hair tools, no. Nails, eyelashes, you do the tox injections, no. No upgrades for 1 week. Eat what you already have, wear what you already own, use what's already in your house. I've done the invisible week a lot, and you know something that I've noticed? Nobody cares. Literally nobody cares what you're doing, because usually we're too worried about what we're doing and how it looks to other people. So that goes really nicely into the next topic, which is social pressure. And it kind of feels a little bit like the same. If the only thing you need in life to be happy is this black glass screen, I encourage you to look beyond the blurry edges of this little rectangle that lives in your life. If you hear nothing else I say in this video, please listen to this. This thing and the social media apps on it will shift your expectations of what you should be doing so subtle you won't even recognize that it's happening. This and what is on it is not what life is supposed to look like. If you put that thing down and walk away, you will sleep better. You will have better relationships. Your brain can focus on more than one thing for longer than 10 seconds. Your desire to organize your refrigerator in like clear plastic bins because it's pretty, because you saw it on TikTok, and also those clear plastic bins, studies show that they actually don't work because people don't live their lives that way. By the way, we actually have to live our lives. All of these organization tips and kitchen gadgets and magic skin techniques, you let other people make your decisions for you. And I don't want that for you. So I'm saying opt out. Opt out of the competition. And that way you can choose for yourself whether you want to try the fridge organization or if you want to try the skincare just to see if it works for you. So if you want to buy like the pretty thing or try the new gadget, you're doing it because you want to do it and not because, you know, Instagram told you so. A big part of keeping your life simple is not just lowering expenses, also making sure you are prepared when it actually matters, which is why I think you are going to love today's sponsor, Fabric by Gerber Life. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring today's video. Adults under the age of 35 think that life insurance costs 5 to 10 times what it actually costs. So if that's the reason you've been putting it off, we don't have all of the information, it's time to get all of the information before you make a decision. I want you to go check out Fabric by Gerber Life and see how much it will actually cost you and your family to get term life insurance to protect the people that you love. Remember, term life insurance, it's not about me. It's about my family. It's about them being taken care of. Heaven forbid something happens to me. Fabric by Gerber Life is term life insurance you can get done today. Made for busy parents like you, all online, on your schedule, right from your couch. You could be covered in under 10 minutes, often with no health exam required. Common questions I get about term life insurance, but the rate's gonna go up. Well, that's the beauty of term life insurance. It actually doesn't. So my husband and I, we get 20-year term life insurance. We've done it twice so far. So we got a 20-year term, and then 10 years into it, we were like, you know what? Let's check rates again. They went down. So I think it's important to check rates often. They have policies that fit your budget and your family. Like you could get $1 million worth of coverage for less than $1 a day. So join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Apply today in just minutes. It's meetfabric.com/frugalfitmom. It's meet, M-E-E-T, fabric.com/frugalfitmom. It is the first link in the doobly-doo below. Use my link. It's the first one down in the doobly-doo below to let them know that I sent you. Meetfabric.com/frugalfitmom. Thank you to them for sponsoring. Now let's get back to the rest of the video. Low expenses are probably the most underrated advantage you can have. And my friends, that's how I live my life. By keeping my expenses low, I have so much more freedom to do what I want. Sometimes People will ask me, well, how can you afford to XYZ, go on spring break trips and maybe get ski passes or something like that? And the trick is the rest of my expenses are very, very low. I've been incredibly intentional to not go out to eat, to not go out and buy crispy water, to keep less expensive cars that are reliable, Honda and Toyota. So I don't have to spend a ton of money insuring them, putting gas in them, fixing them, or spending $40, $50, $60,000 on a new car to look a certain way. I don't want that life. I want the freedom that low expenses can give you. And the best thing about low expenses is you need to make less money. So you have more freedom in job choice. What you're looking for is margin. And the margin gives you options where most people think you need to earn millions of dollars, but it really just comes down to needing less. So we're gonna call this the cap your life hack. It is putting a cap on your lifestyle, not your income, your lifestyle, the things that you spend. So what we did, my husband is in education as his job. So as a teacher, if you know, you know, we didn't make very much money. I was a stay-at-home mom, he was a teacher. It was tight, you guys, real tight. So tight that my family qualified for food stamps. My family qualified for WIC. We qualified for Medicaid. I am very aware of all of the things that you need to do when you have no money. But we worked really hard. He got an additional degree. We moved across the country twice. We worked side hustles. And every time the income went up, we did not change the lifestyle. We kept the lifestyle the same.
Well, what's fun about that?
Get a new job with more income, lifestyle stays. We don't upgrade anything. Same car, same spending habits, more savings for sure. While our income was here, it would go up and it would go up and it would go up, and our expenses stay down here. So now we have this huge gap between the two where we could do some cool stuff. What are the things to cut first, my friends? It's the fluffy stuff. Streaming services, subscriptions, going out to eat, driving your car less. You're not buying clothes, we're not buying makeup, we're not overdosing on cleaning products. How many cleaning products do you actually have in your house?
All of them? All of them.
No movies, no concert tickets. Just see where you end up and see what you can pay off when you do it. It is so powerful. On some level, these minimalists know exactly what they're talking about. This seems obvious, but just hear me out. When you buy less, you have less to manage, less to store, less to clean around, less to organize. Your life becomes calmer when you have less stuff. So if you've gone through a declutter journey like I have, and you don't replace it with anything, because sometimes we go into this cycle of like declutter, rebuy, re-declutter over and over. But if you don't do that, if you just declutter it, I'm not even saying be a minimalist, I'm just saying have less stuff and buy less stuff, the less energy your stuff is consuming from you. I like this quote from Joshua Becker: the first step in crafting the life you want is to get rid of everything that you don't want. And that doesn't mean getting rid of everything that you own. It just means being more intentional about what you let in. And it does feel like most people are chasing a better life by buying the right thing, the right fix. If I just had this, I'd be a better mom. If I just had this, I'd have a cleaner house. If I just had this skincare routine, I would look much younger than my 40s. Oh. When your environment is simpler, the mind usually follows. So I knew this guy a long time ago, and he didn't dress fancy. He drove a Geo Metro, like an 80s Geo Metro, okay? He was the nicest guy I'd ever met. And so I formed an opinion about how much money he had based on what he looked like. And then I was proven very, very wrong when I went to his house for something, and I was like, this is your house? He had this gorgeous, like 2-story, it's small compared to today's mini mansions, but I would have called it a mini mansion back then, on acreage. He owned acres. And then we went out to dinner, and there was a group, and he paid the bill without anybody knowing. And people are like, you didn't have to do that. And he's like, I know, that's why it's fun. It occurred to me that the quiet wealth is like the biggest invisible flex. And then when it drops, you're kind of like, that's a baller move. Like, I kind of want to be like that.
I want to be just like him.
It's this like comfort To be able to be in that place of knowing that if everything stops tomorrow, it's gonna be okay. So how do you get there? Here's a tip. You could start by calculating your investment hourly rate. So before you buy like a flashy gadget or designer piece or purse, don't look at the price tag in dollars, look at it in hours of your life. So if you want a $1,200 phone and you net, okay, you don't make $30 an hour, but you net $30 an hour, that phone costs you 40 hours of sitting at your desk or flipping burgers or whatever it is that you do. When you realize that you are trading a 40-hour work week, an entire week of work just to look a certain way or like to have the most up-to-date phone, the shine on the new pretty item wears off very, very quickly. So in a lot of cases, quiet wealth is built by people who value their time a whole lot more than the new shiny thing. Looking wealthy is about right now. It's immediate. I buy this thing, I look a certain way, but real wealth is about later. So over time, you're actually just choosing your timeline. Do you want things to look better now, or do you want them to actually be better later? Now, it's not always an easy choice because the now, it's fun. It's really, really fun.
This is the biggest feeling I've ever had, and this is the first time I've been big enough to have it.
Does anything feel better than the complete purchase button on your browser? No, it doesn't. But I do have to be honest about what I'm trading in order to hit that button. One thing that could be helpful when building wealth is to pay yourself twice. Now, obviously, you get paid when you get paid, right?
Allow myself to introduce myself.
But the second one happens before you upgrade anything in your life. So you get paid. And then I take a chunk and I invest it / save it immediately, which we talked about earlier in the video. But here's the real kicker. So if you want something luxury, let's say it's a new purse and the purse is $300. You need to be able to buy the purse twice in order to buy the purse. So I will put $300 into savings and then I will take my other $300 and I will go buy the purse, not on credit, with cash or a debit card. If you don't have the money to do that, can't afford the purse. When I think about money now, I don't think about what it can buy, I think about what it can remove. Because the less your life requires to run, the easier it is to step back, take a second, breathe a little bit. You can take time off. You can say no. The irony is that the more you try to look a certain way by buying items, the more you're actually shackled to the desk that it takes to pay for them. Real freedom is not about the ability to buy whatever you want. It's the ability to walk away from any situation, any job, a toxic environment, because you don't need the next check to keep the lights on. Looking broke is the ultimate camouflage for a high net worth life. It allows you to move through the world without expectations from other people, without a target on your back, without people treating you a certain way, without the attention tax that eats away at your time. The only flex that matters is the ability to say no to anything that does not serve you. If you have made it this far, I am curious, what's the one thing that you've stopped spending money on that has actually made your life better? Let me know down in the comments. If you want to get ahead with money, subscribe for more content. Also, I have over 1,000 videos. If you're new around here, happy to have you. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time. Bye. But wait, there's more. If I haven't said it before, or if you're new, my mom turns 70 years old this year. 70. What a life, what an adventure. Now, my mom is single and she lives fairly close to me. She wants to improve her social life. So she has found some places in the area that do dances, like line dancing for seniors. Now, my mom is quite vivacious, so it feels weird calling her a senior, but age-wise, she is. So that's what it is. It's like line dancing for seniors. They'll do instruction and then dancing, and then in surrounding towns, like she'll drive around on a Saturday night with her girlfriends. This weekend, she went to a 70s theme dance, like disco. And as she was doing this, she realized that there were some dances she didn't know. So she started taking dance lessons. I've mentioned this before. I went to one of them recently. We learned the Dougie together. She definitely wanted to learn the waltz and the foxtrot and some line dances. So when she goes to these dances, she's like, I came here to slay. Guess what happened? She went to a dance about a week ago, and an elderly gentleman who she had gotten to know over the last few months, they were just chatting. And she's like, I've been taking lessons for the waltz, do you know how to waltz? And he's like, yes, I do. I haven't waltzed in over a decade. And they were like, should we try it? Like, just as friends, right? They had to wait for the right song. A song comes on, they go out and they do the waltz. He's a 75 or maybe he's 80, I can't remember, year-old man who is also single, and he's doing the waltz for the first time in 10 or 15 years. My mom's doing it pretty much for the first time successfully. They finish the dance. He has tears in his eyes. He has tears in his eyes. He was so emotional about being able to do a waltz because he loves dance with someone that also know how to do the waltz. It gave him all the feels. Can I just say, my mom made a man cry with her waltz. What else is there to say?